Good evening and welcome to the Big Ten Men's Soccer Tournament on Big Ten Plus. Look at that Northwestern lineup, very different. And I think Coach Daly would potentially welcome a scoreless draw today as Michigan kicks it off. Of course, we get some overtime and penalties if that did happen. That's something he talks to us a lot about as well. It's the Wolverines on the front foot early, cut off on the initial attack by the defense of Obeid and Nigel Prince. Name we'll mention plenty on this broadcast, I'm sure. The Northwestern center back who's missed just 6 minutes this season. Claggett starting things off with a scream. Not sure where that came from.
I mean, the energy, the tension is palpable from both of these teams. There's so much in this game. So many players getting their first taste of playoff action. So many freshmen, but it's just so exciting to finally get some more Big Ten tournament action here in Evanston. It's been so long, 2019, almost 5 years since we've had a quarterfinal matchup at Martin Stadium.
Absolutely. It's a Northwestern team that made it to the semifinals 2 years ago after a penalty shootout win against Maryland. Big upset then. The Wildcats have not made it to the final in over a decade. It's a Northwestern team that is looking for their first NCAA tournament appearance in 9 years. We already mentioned Coach Daly knows that his team is going to have to win out. It might not have to be a win-out scenario for Coach Payne on the other side, with Northwestern's RPI at 41 coming into tonight's action. But Coach Payne told us he has it as a must-win for his team. That's what he told his guys. They're on the outside looking in right now. They have to win at least this game and probably one more to really solidify their case.
Yeah, the Wildcats struggled coming into this tournament. They've lost 3 out of their last 4 after starting the season so strong. So if you're Russell Payne, the only thing that you want out of this game is 3 points, is to advance to meet the winner of that Indiana match.
I don't think they count the points anymore, but I don't disagree with you, Matt. Long throw-in comes ahead, and Northwestern starting on the far side with a Chara. It stays with the Wildcats. It'll be intriguing to see over the course of this one how this newer lineup plays together. A lot of guys who have not seen the field at the same time all that much this season. Wildcats setting up for the long throw right now. I believe it's Mayer out there to send it in. It is. All the way towards the 6-yard box, and coming out for his first contact of the game and doing so successfully is Isaiah Goldson.
They scored on a very similar play against Indiana. It was a flick on from Nigel Prince to get his first career collegiate goal. But Isaiah Goldson is not someone who's afraid to come off his line. He's very quick to get his body out in front of there. There's a foul you see from Nigel Prince. But already Michigan had all 11 players behind the ball in that throw-in, just defending, trying to make sure Northwestern didn't get a numbers advantage in the box.
It's impossible to think that Goldson won't be called on at some point tonight. He's been called on plenty this year for Michigan. True freshman who won the starting job 5 games into the season. That's how it was ascribed to us by Coach Daly. He's now played each of the last 12. 16 goals allowed, 42 saves. Really impressive first year in the maize and blue. Long field switching ball. It's taken away by Northwestern. And Faggard starting forward. He's got a Chara running through the middle. Instead he goes out wide, and Volmar was not far enough up to make a serious run at that one.
It's not clean enough from Jason Buckner. Just loses the ball as Michigan's trying to establish a bit of possession. He's been He's been good coming back into the starting lineup. Had a bit of an injury struggle, missed a lot of time, needed surgery. But now that he's back, starting in a different position as well, was more of a fullback last year.
Early touch for Jackson Wyman, playing it out wide, and then lost over the sideline by Volmar back to the Wolverines. Both goalkeepers wearing almost the exact same shade of blue, something you don't see too often. No color coordination between them, I guess. Michigan settles into possession here in their own end. As there's Nolan Miller. Playing it out for Fisher. Now back to Miller. Northwestern setting up a press as we expected. We see plenty of high pressure from Northwestern today.
You'll see that very frequently from Russell Payne. Anytime that 2 players along the back line from the opposition string a couple passes together, that's a trigger for his team to step up, to press, to swallow the space, force them to play it back to their goalkeeper where Northwestern can step forward.
Here's a lovely ball over the top from Obeid to Claggett. Claggett in, crossing, late arrival. Oh, it's kicked away before finding the foot of Glassberg, who was making a run into the box. And now Volmar cuts off a lazy pass. Cleaning it up on the back end is Nolan Miller. Glassberg battling for position, and he loses. Oh, it's going to stay with Northwestern on the throw.
And this is very similar to how that matchup started against Sunday. That first goal in the 16th minute from Riley Furch really came against the run of play. The Wildcats were dominating the possession, something they ended up doing throughout the game. It was about 60-40.
Yeah,
But as soon as that goal went in, Northwestern just kind of sheltered back. Justin Weiss missed a really good chance, and they never really found themselves back in it.
Faggard called for a foul, pulling on the shoulder there. The Michigan defender, that looked like it was Fisher out wide. It was. It's hard to say Northwestern didn't control the things, as you mentioned, Matt, on Sunday. Possession advantage, territory advantage, significant corners advantage, and a shots advantage. That's all the stats I got, besides the goals. And the goals obviously went the way of Michigan. But I think both coaches anticipating similar situations. It's all about whether Northwestern can limit that transition a little bit better than they did. Mayer heads it back towards his keeper. One thing we've seen early that Russell Payne really keyed on was pressure when Michigan tried to get the ball to the outside in attack. Northwestern has not allowed any crosses to come in the early going. Glassberg can't keep it in. It goes back to the Wolverines.
Russell Payne really highlighted Tyler Glassberg's engine. You'll rarely see him slow down, loves to press, but also loves to take on players 1v1. Matt Fisher will have a lot on his plate tonight if he wants to shut down the ex-Queensboro FC Academy product.
So many first years we're seeing put in huge spots in this match, and Glassberg, maybe the biggest name just in terms of the fact that it's his first career start, and he really hasn't even had that many consistent minutes to show coming into this one. Northwestern dealing with some nagging injuries to some offensive players, as we mentioned. We've seen a lot of Paul Sun in the starting lineup in recent weeks. He's coming off the bench today. Michigan's going to have to reset for the goal kick here.
And that was the switch that Russell Payne made on Sunday against Michigan, where Tyler Glassberg got a lot of his minutes so far this season. Paul Sun didn't come out in the second half starting. It was Tyler Glassberg. And he looked really good. He looked solid. He looked comfortable. He's established good rapport with his teammates, especially with Colin McCamey. They connect very well over on that left side.
Back and forth, and coming out of the pile with it is Bryce Blevins here. First significant time on the ball for the captain. Michigan loses it. Blevins, a real leader for this team. We asked Coach Daly who his guys would be looking to. All the first years that this Michigan team puts out on the field would be looking to potentially lead the way in their first postseason time. And he talked about himself, of course, as 12-year head coach that plenty of experience in those situations. But he also mentioned Blevins, who has spent all 4 years with this team, but the local kid out of Plainsfield, Illinois, has a lot to play for tonight.
And he highlighted Blevins' versatility, his ability to play as an 8, as a 10, up top, or out wide like he is doing tonight.
Coming forward, it's deflected away from Riley Furch. Their senior, Furch, had the first goal out of those 3 for Michigan on Sunday. Dangerous coming forward, even though he doesn't necessarily have the stats to show for it all year, just the 2 goals to go along with the 2 assists. He's part of the capable and well-rounded Michigan attack. Playing it back is Will Baker now. Mentioned him in the early going. True freshman out of Frisco, Texas. Coach Daly thought was snubbed, and I think rightfully so, in our opinion at least. Not that it really matters what we think. Long throw comes back. Baker having to do some defending. Chara wins it away. And now Glassberg in for Volmar, who has stayed on sides here. Nope, that's Faggard in there. Pardon me. And now the ball has been lost over the end line. Wildcat player down is in the middle of the field. That's Claggett, it looks like to me. He's taking a little bit to get up. That's a Chara, actually, after winning that ball back. Hugo Chara Jr., who has played much of this season in a knee brace. All the season, actually, in that left knee brace. You always worry with the graduate student, but he seems back up and moving around well.
Russell Payne was just so happy that he was honored today in the second team for All Big Ten. Called it a storybook ending to his career after he played here his first 2 years, went to Louisville, decided to come back, finish it off as a Wildcat.
When you look at Wildcat players from this era, from the transition to Tim Lanahan to Russell Payne, everybody's going to talk about Ugo Chara and the work he's done over 3 seasons at Northwestern, especially with a good ending to his career. A lot still to be written for Achara in this team. Mayer plays it back out for Obed. Raheem Obed, another player with plenty of experience this season, but not a lot of it in a starting role. And Gajadhar earns the foul there. Displeasure from Furch. But it seemed pretty clear, the contact. Take another look.
I mean, Jason Gajadhar is such a smart midfielder. Checks his shoulder, knows that the pressure is coming from Furch, and then eats the contact and goes down to allow the Wildcats to keep the ball to go forward.
Chara being harangued by Baker, gets it out, and now Mayer comes forward. Wildcats shuffling into positions. Volmar tracks back, and Mayer is fouled as he passed it back to him. Potentially dangerous position for McCamey to serve a ball in from. About 25 yards away on a north-south plane, but obviously well to the side for McCamey. Wildcats sending a lot forward here. Volmar an option out wide as well. The left-footed service headed away. When Volmar's in to clean it up, his cross is cleared. First Miller, then Rogers for Michigan to alleviate the danger for now. 11.5 minutes in, Northwestern has controlled things. It's been much to the script of what Coach Payne wanted in the early going here. As Mayer sets up for the long throw. And again, when you're watching the long throw, you're watching number 12, Nigel Prince. Matt already mentioned the goal against Indiana. This one is toward Prince. He gets ahead to it, but can't direct it the way he wanted. McCamey back in front. Achara got a piece of that, still loose. And it's cleared away. But Michigan's defense allowing some chaos in the box in the early going here.
This will be the key for both of these teams. Can you convert on these set pieces? Coach Payne wasn't happy with how his teams were executing those runs, those plans that they had drawn up, already looking a little bit more threatening than they did on Sunday.
Another long throw. Over Prince this time. A lot of chaos. It's cleared. And the second clearance finally gets it out of danger from Furch, but again, to another throw. And Michigan is really having a hard time dealing with these. They're virtually wrapping up Achara and Prince on the interior, and still those two have gotten contact on the ball. Mayer sends in another. Another great service, but it's headed away. Now Claggett, as the lone man back, will play it all the way back to Wyman. Mayer's through ball cut off easily. Michigan has numbers, some numbers if they would like to go forward. Well, I'm sure they would like to, but pass comes off a heel and kicks back to Northwestern. Now through the middle. Nice pass cut from Simon Vasquez, and he gets it back from Mojtaba Al-Hasnawi. Miller with some pressure from Achara. Olsen going to be forced to play with his feet plenty tonight, you would think. Comes ahead now. Really an easy ball to deal with in the end. I think Baker might have just wanted it out of his end. That's what the pressure can do sometimes, even if it doesn't force a takeaway. Just speeds teams up, man. Western has been exceptional at speeding teams up when they've needed to this year. Until these past 4 games, as you mentioned, they struggled a bit more. McCamey down the line. Here's a run from Volmar, all freshman team member, pressuring the ball and earning the first corner of the contest.
But we knew this was coming. It was only a matter of time before the Wildcats went to that 3-back and pushed Fritz Volmar up into the attack. That time it's a great ball over the top, and it's the heavy pressure from Volmar, the speed, the pace, just breathing down on the Michigan back line that wins the first quarter.
We mentioned the significant corner disparity on Sunday. We heard from both coaches about that corner disparity as our head official here is heading to the sideline to discuss something with the 4th referee. Soren Stoika, our head official tonight. He's talking to Besnick, Rexhepi over there on the sideline. Our ARs today, Ali Zolgernine and Vincent Ragon. There's a conversation that now includes Russell Payne. Any idea on what this could possibly be? Because I don't have any.
No, you shouldn't be able to review whether that was a goal kick or a corner kick. This
And they're not looking to review
would
right
have to
now.
be some sort of disciplinary review, something off the ball, perhaps.
Well, I thought I might have even seen, no? I thought I might have seen a card in the hand there, but that would be really something. Potentially something from the sideline, because the AR was involved initially with the fourth official. Potentially something with the sideline that the AR reported back. Getting in the referee's way, a possibility there. Either way, McCamey is ready for the corner. It's a low ball. Not much for Prince to do there, but he got ahead to it. Now Michigan clears for another Northwestern throw. That's what I was getting to with the corner talk there. Both coaches had things to say about the corners. Of course, Coach Daly was saying we have to limit the set pieces more. We can't count on defending double-digit set pieces successfully the way we did on Sunday. And as you mentioned earlier, Coach Payne talking about how Northwestern just hadn't done enough. Northwestern just hadn't done enough with their runs and with their timing and with every part of the corner play. We've received word of what the situation was over there. The ref said that Northwestern could not play music during their corner kick, which is something, correct me if I'm wrong here, Matt, they've done all year on both the men's and women's side and never had a problem with, but apparently tonight no more music. Now another ball, Glassberg trying to run it down and cannot keep it in.
See if Northwestern continues to keep up this pressure. We've already seen Fritz Volmar inverting a little bit, tucking in centrally to push Tyler Glassberg out wide. We saw the same thing with Jamin Vandeventer coming out of that second half. When we asked Russell Payne about it, he said they just wanted some more options. See there, Tyler Glassberg, just the grit, the tenacity against Nolan Miller, I believe.
Volmar tracking this one down before Buckner can get onto it. Buckner putting some pressure on. Will be a goal kick. A lot of noise from this Northwestern bench right now, trying to get their guys into this one. Russell Payne told us there is no shortage of adrenaline coming into this one. They know what's in front of them, this Northwestern team. Know what they need to achieve as Glassberg flies down the sideline. And he's got options in front. Glassberg has it cut away at the last second. It's excellent defending from Fisher. Glassberg certainly went down, but at least I didn't see any contact live. Nothing significant.
That looks like a fantastic challenge from Matthew Fisher. Freshman versus freshman matchup, just manages to get enough of the ball.
Glassberg potentially makes a bit of a meal of it, but hey, he was in the area. Goes for a corner. McCamey to send another one in. First service left something to be desired. This one's in a better spot. Oh, and it was a chance for Achara, but he couldn't get the head to it. Michigan missed the clear, but now the Wolverines fly the other way. Duilio Herrera as it knocks back. Wow, looked like Achara had an opportunity there and just didn't time up his run perfectly. But a near miss for the Wildcats.
The delivery was great, and as you said, Achara just has, his eyes got a little too big, didn't get a good connection with that ball.
Northwestern continues to control the early going. We're about 18 minutes in. Over the top for Thagard, who can't get to it, headed away by Baker. Glassberg battling again with Fisher. Those two have been at it all night already. Wolverines coming out of it. Rogers trying to put that pressure on down the sideline that Northwestern wanted to avoid, and he is not on the same page with Buckner. Neither of them very happy with each other, but they hug it out. At least it looked like they were hugging it out. Then they kept barking at each other. Hopefully the two of them figured things out. That's the junior Jason Buckner out of Weston, Florida. Ben Rogers, a senior out of San Jose. Both of them have spent plenty of time over there together. Chara leaves it for Obi. Looking for Claggett over the top, and he's not going to be able to run that one down. Levins looked like he had him pretty well covered anyway. We have two semifinalists officially. It will be Ohio State to meet Penn State in a continuation of that rivalry in our semifinal this weekend. So it's the Buckeyes over the Spartans to face the Nittany Lions.
And already that's one more upset than we had last year. Last year the higher seeds won every single match. The Michigan State falling to Ohio State. Russell Payne and company will be happy they lost to Michigan State. But again, the eyes are on this game. They're on the team. The 11 players that are facing off against your 11 players.
Absolutely.
Those results, that matchup, that's in the future. All you can worry about is the rest of this match.
But it was such a compelling season in the Big Ten this year. The top 8 teams were within a 4-point window at the end of the year, from 14 points down to 10 points in the 8th seed. And speaking about that, Coach Shaka Daly told us, I don't think any of these coaches would be surprised if the bottom 4 seeds won. I don't think any of these coaches would be surprised if the top 4 seeds won. There is parity galore in this conference right now. And I think we're going to see that tonight as well, as we already have through 20 minutes.
And it's even more fascinating when you think about the one team that missed out on this tournament, Maryland, was the preseason number 1. And they finished with 2 points in the conference.
Very surprising.
It wasn't a great season for Sasho Surovsky, but they still had the freshman of the year in Kamani Stewart-Baines. A lot of talent on that team. They just couldn't get things clicking. But these two teams were numbers 8 and 9 in that preseason, and already you've seen good competitive action between the Wildcats and the Wolverines.
Our referee brings it back for a foul behind the play there. And it's not surprising, but it is always fun to watch how every team in this conference is so ready to give every other team in this conference a game at any given night. We've already seen that so far in the tournament. We're going to continue to see it. McCammy's ready to send another ball in from a bit of a different angle. His 4th set piece already. Gajadhar makes a run around him. The ball goes into the middle instead. Prince was there. It's headed away before it got to him. Again, tracking back and making a play is Matthew Fisher. Sent back in by Claggett. Oh, that was into a bit of an interesting area, but a sleeping play by Goldson. Looked like it was going wide either way.
We've seen a couple shaky moments from Isaiah Goldson. Shaka Daly was honest. He said there's been a couple of times that he's been caught off his line, been a little bit too eager to build in possession with the rest of the team.
Faggard, advantage played. He's got a head of steam built up. Faggard looking to work in a left-footed ball. Does so. Achara! Oh my! Was going for something special there with the overhead attempt, but Goldson had it covered.
It's a really good counterattack from the Wildcats, winning back possession in that final third. But Ugo Achara just didn't have enough room to get the power that he needed off that right boot. It's a really tough position. Doesn't have a lot of angle. But well done from Isaiah Goldson anyway to keep on top of it, get 2 hands.
Well, he created the whole thing himself, Achara did, after Faggard made a lovely run. As he said, couldn't get enough on it. Claggett, marked tightly. Obi plays a nifty little pass to Achara. Stays with Northwestern. Michigan defense has been on the Wildcats. In the shirts, if you will. Northwestern continues on forward. Vasquez clears with a nifty little touch. McCammy has space and time in the middle of the field. Plays a poor pass out for Volmar. Buckner with an easy play defensively and makes a nice move. Buckner driving through the middle of the defense. Gets it back on the give and go. Looking for space. The junior plays it out wide, and now Michigan has something moving here. Making the run on is Furch, and he can't get to that. It was a great setup from Buckner. Wolverines just didn't have enough forward to pay it off.
It's very promising. When you can get your wide players creative like that, we haven't seen enough of Bryce Blevins and Jason Buckner until that moment. He connects very well in the middle with Simon Vasquez to get the ball back to take players on. But in the end, it's just Riley Furch, a bit of a heavy touch that gives the ball back to Northwestern.
Michigan settling defensively into what approximates. Oh, and now a whistle behind. The studs were a bit high from Glassberg coming in, and you wonder if he'll see a card here. Doesn't look like the referee's thinking about the pocket as of now. It'll be a free kick for Michigan. And there will be a card coming out. It's a yellow for Glassberg in his first start. He is into the book. Just 23 minutes and 14 seconds into this first half. Might go to the review on this one. You never know. Up and walking around now is Duilio Herrera. Took the worst of that.
A studs up challenge is always dangerous.
Yeah, I mean,
it's a really nasty challenge.
It's
from Tyler
tough.
Glassberg, he commits to it. He's trying to win the ball. There's no ill will. There's no malice. But still, that's going to hurt. From Duilio Herrera, you're getting studs on your ankle. It's never going to feel good.
I'm not disputing the yellow. I'm not doing that. It's tough for Glassberg in this situation, though, because the ball is with him initially. And Herrera comes diving in as well. Now, the studs are up. It has to be a card, I think. But at the same time, for Glassberg, a first year in that situation, it's tough. Header on target, and it's grabbed off the head of Buckner. Wyman first save. Buckner has been getting into the action of late. He had a moment there in the middle of the penalty box.
I mean, Tyler Glassberg, quite honestly, should consider himself a bit lucky because we've seen challenges where you're 4 or 5 inches higher up, and that's a red card.
Sure. Yeah, once you get out of that, shin ankle range, it can get really dangerous. Not that it's not already dangerous. I think any official would have found it tough to give a red in that particular context, but it doesn't mean it can't happen. It's actually only the second foul for Northwestern. Mayer with an offensive header towards the middle. Prince clears initially. Levin staying on the ball. Marked by Claggett. Gets around him. Now working into space for Fisher. Vasquez opens it up, and Obed cuts it off. Ibrahim Obed keeps on the ball with his head. He's got options in front with Achara and Thagard, and he plays Achara forward, but it's cut off with ease by Baker. And Matt, you thought Obed should have continued that run instead of slowing down and dishing.
I think he just took too long on the ball. He had the space. If he broke a little bit quicker, Ibrahim Obed has the wheels to expose that space, but because he slowed down, Hugo Achara had to shift in, and then he's followed out by the pressure, and now Northwestern has to go against a Michigan team that has 10 players, 11 players behind the ball rather than 4 or 5.
Could be a bit tough for Obed. He's got experience playing that position as Achara comes out of the left foot. Lays it off for Glassberg, and his shot is blocked away. McCammy's header for Achara. That's headed away by Miller. Now Buckner again surrounded by black jerseys, again creating space. Cannot find a teammate. Back to it with Obed. He's played a lot of minutes in the back line for Northwestern, but not a ton of starting minutes. Could be something in his head there about not wanting to overcommit. Hard to say in this situation. Volmar for McCammy. And McCammy cannot keep it in. The junior midfielder couldn't quite run it down.
It's a really good ball from Fritz Volmar, just a touch heavy, but you're seeing the numerical superiority that these Wildcats establish when they have in position. It almost turns into a 3-2-5 with 5.
Oh, and here they come. It's Thagard over the bar. Ambitious effort from Thagard, and he kept it lower than I thought he would. Maybe would have benefited from taking an extra touch there.
Can't help but feel that Chris Thagard has to do a bit better. Has quite a bit of space. He's only 20 yards out. Yes, the ball's bouncing, but this is his bread and butter. Just a bit high. Isaiah Golton would have had no chance.
Yeah, absolutely. He's also got Gajadhar to his right. Only 2 defenders even in the picture. Giveaway for Michigan in a very dangerous area. Gotta have Coach Daly getting as close to tearing his hair out as anything can make him. Very reserved coach typically on the sideline. Even-keeled man, if you will. Wildcats continue to hold possession. They have dominated the territory battle in this game as well. Ball has spent a lot of time on the right side of the field as you watch. South side. Nigel Prince, the stalwart center back for the Wildcats. Now Mayer for McCamey, and you see Volmar all the way up high. He did not stay outside. It was close. Fritz Volmar just caught off. And Northwestern really shifting that positioning now, with Volmar just all over the field in the attacking midfield.
And Tyler Glassberg just has to resist the urge to check in to the midfield. If he can stay back, if he can pull Matthew Fisher inside, that leaves Fritz Volmar in a ton of space. Volmar then doesn't have to make that type of run, put himself in an offside position. Glassberg just has to be a bit patient.
We are seeing Justin Weiss receiving instructions on the Northwestern bench. Unsurprising, the Big Ten's points leader will be the first sub we suspect here tonight. Gajadhar playing it ahead. McCamey on the ball, took a little bit of contact from Buckner. And now just whacking at it and clearing it is Nigel Prince. Goldson, long ball. Volmar had it covered. Got a space he has covered in this first half. Talk about a guy with a high motor. Fritz Volmar is that guy. Over the top of Glassberg, and it's run down by Thagard into the corner. Thagard playing it back towards the middle. Chris Thagard on the ball, looking out for Glassberg, who has stayed on sides. His cross for Claggett. Can't get much on that header.
And these first 30-odd minutes have been all Northwestern. The only chance that Michigan has had was that header from Jason Buckner. The Wildcats have gotten it done on set pieces. They're crossing the ball well. They're transitioning well. It feels like a matter of time. An if, not when, a when, not if. They'll put one around Isaiah Goldson.
Question for now, who will Weiss replace up top? Achara seems to be slowing down a bit. The Weiss-Achara pairing has done some work this year as well. Achara tries to lay it off for Glassberg. Didn't get anything on the pass. Now Prince, marked closely by Furch. We've received word it will be Achara who comes off for Weiss when the substitution is made. No surprise there. We have not seen Hugo Achara play anything close to a full game this year, dealing with that nagging injury as we mentioned. Mayer looking for Thagard over the top. Bit of a misplay by Miller, leaving it in the middle of the park. Vasquez cleans it up. Simone Vasquez, a bit of an unsung senior here. One of two Weston, Florida natives in this starting lineup. Always an interesting thing. But they didn't go to the same high school. Vasquez and Buckner. There's a foul, certainly. Gajadhar, contact up high on Blevins as the Wolverines start forward. And here comes Al-Hasnawi. Haven't seen a ton of him on this near side today. Scored the second goal for Michigan on Sunday. Shabal Hasnawi. Nominally a defender when Michigan is playing five at the back. Oftentimes coming forward in the midfield. A winger, purely.
And was almost an out-and-out right wing for his first 3 years, but these last two seasons he stepped back a little bit. But you could see that drive to get forward when he scored, collected that ball on the sideline, took it past Jason Gajadhar, and then just fired a shot. Took a little deflection, but still got the goal that Michigan needed to really settle that game.
Here's some pressure from the Wolverines. Duilio Herrera driving through the middle, and the pass just wasn't where it needed to be. That was a dangerous run from Jason Buckner. He was on sides, and Herrera let him down with the ball.
Jason Buckner has been the most dangerous player on the field in a Michigan jersey by a far margin. Riley Furch and Duilio Herrera have barely done anything. In terms of getting the ball at their feet, trying to go forward, it's really been Jason Buckner coming inside, making those runs, cutting across Northwestern's back line that have given the Wildcats problems.
And a forearm to the back of the head from Quinn Rogers gives it back to Northwestern. Would have thought the sub would come on now, but no, motion to the sideline. With the clock ticking towards 31 and a half minutes gone in this first frame. We're so far away from this becoming a possibility. We talked to both coaches about the possibility of overtime. Haven't seen overtime, of course, this year. First game we have the possibility of it. Michigan, a team very accustomed to going 90 minutes, not only tied, but scoreless. A team that had 5 ties in Big Ten play, 7 draws for the season. Mention those 3 scoreless road draws something they're accustomed to away from home.
And there were some good draws on that list. Michigan State was ranked number 19 at the time. Indiana, who won a share of the Big Ten title.
And here's a card going to come out. And this is unfortunate for Michigan because Buckner has been so effective coming forward, but it's a risky challenge from him, an unnecessary one, and he comes through the side of Glassberg to earn Michigan's first yellow. Take another look.
Just comes across a little bit high with that left boot. The ball's already gone.
It's really a strange challenge. Never had any hope of getting the ball, you would think, from that position. And earns himself a yellow. Weiss is just going to keep on standing there, I guess. Maybe he's just taking it in for the fourth official position. Who can say? Or chatter with the officials in the Northwestern bench. And now there's going to be more conversation. Well, I know if Duilio Herrera doesn't take 5 steps back, the integrity of the game is going to be compromised here.
Well, Soren Stoica doesn't mess around. Gave Kaká his first red card in the MLS 8 years ago.
I love that. Just pulled that out for you. That's unbelievable. I mean, Stoica certainly has to know that a game like this can certainly get chippy. Of course, very experienced referees you just alluded to.
As you said, he doesn't ref a ton of collegiate games, really gets a lot of action in these tournaments. Very good referee, very experienced.
And he knows how to keep a game under control, certainly.
And that's what we've seen. You know, challenges from Glassberg and Buckner, not going unpunished, not afraid to bring out that card.
Reese Mayer can't believe he's been penalized. Oh, and now we've got pushing and shoving away from the play. Not sure why exactly. Well, Duilio Herrera, I think, wanted the ball. Not as though Michigan was actually going to go fast with it, but I think he just wanted it for the spirit of it. And now Michigan preparing, looks like 3 substitutes on their side. Take another look at this foul here. And certainly Mayer gets up there with the knee. And then takes the ball away with him. No card issued there, just some talking tos. Michigan subs are sort of looming back behind their bench. It's an interesting strategy there. Maybe Northwestern won't see him coming.
We've seen Russell Payne very active off his bench, not only talking to his team, but chatting up our officials. Jaka Daly having a bit of a word as well.
That's the 3rd time that Payne has talked to Stoica. Daly has mostly saved his conversation for the 4th official. And now Mayer has actually been awarded a yellow card. Well, it says it's Brian Mayer. That almost can't be true. Brian Mayer, of course, on the sideline. That ball goes out of bounds after some physical play for a goal kick. And now the subs will finally arrive. Justin Weiss, of course, for Northwestern, the lone substitute in the black and purple, as we see the battle in the corner there. And Obed successfully walling off what looked like Duilio Herrera. For Michigan, 3 substitutes, as we said. We'll get you those as soon as we get them. That's Alex Wagner, the team's leader in goals, to come in up top. No surprise there. We thought we'd see plenty of Wagner tonight. Joao Paulo Ramos comes in as well, the freshman out of Marietta, Georgia. And Nicholas Cassidy comes in as well, the Grand Rapids native sophomore. So 3 midfield and forward subs for Michigan as Weiss enters for the Wildcats. McCamey cuts it off and takes it away. The Wildcats have numbers moving forward across the midfield line. Offsides is Glassberg.
And with those subs from Shaka Daly, just feels like Michigan will try and make a push, try and get some opportunities in these last 10 minutes of the first half. You mentioned Alex Wagner, but Joe Ramos as well. Someone that has a bit of pace, some skill, technicality on the ball, and then Nicholas Cassidy hasn't seen a ton of time. Started the first game of the season, but has come off the bench since. But all bring a little bit of a different profile than some of those players you had on. I'm a bit surprised, though, that Jason Buckner, one of those players to come off, is on the card, but...
Yeah, I think it might be the card. And now we're going to have more talking tos. Oh, actually there's a cut, it appears. For Glassberg, he's at least getting looked at by the trainer. Something going on with Glassberg's knee, probably. I don't know. Hard to know.
Well, it does get to a point at a certain time where it feels like the referee just trying to assert himself a little bit too much. Not saying it's certainly gotten there yet, but lots of stoppages in play. This game really hasn't been as free flowing as it could be.
And we actually started off quite free flowing, I thought.
Just you have to think it favors Michigan. Northwestern has slowed down a little bit just because we've had the ball going out, but also some talking tos.
And I think you've certainly seen it from the coaches that Coach Daly has been a bit more content with the state of things. Not that he's a very talkative coach in general, as we mentioned. Michigan on the throw as Javen Van Deventer sets to come in, a player we thought might start this game. Will have plenty to say off the bench, I'm sure. Wagner was offside there, but didn't make a play on the ball. And now he gets to it. Wagner, pushed away by Prince, gets away with it, maybe. Al-Hasnawi battling, and now Blevins will play it back for his back line. Baker deals it out, but Obi there to cut it off. Blevins with a misplay. Claggett will let it run. And now Van Deventer will come in. Claggett to depart. Two similar styles of players, Claggett and Van Deventer. Van Deventer certainly brings plenty of energy when number 11 is on the pitch.
And selfishly, I'm a little bit disappointed that Javen Van Deventer is not lining up on the other side. Wanted to see him go against his club teammate back at Sporting Kansas City, Matt Fisher. But Tyler Glassberg has been really good for Russell Payne. I think he's been energetic. You have that one challenge, but he's got the pace. He wants the ball. You can't fault Russell Payne for wanting to keep him in.
He's showing some trust in his first year. Hasn't played a lot of minutes, as you mentioned, playing on a yellow. One big mistake away from leaving his team down a man. Here's Van Deventer driving in the middle. Through three defenders, and McCamey with space now. He'll let one rip. Oh, he was looking for Weiss actually over the top. It's headed back in front. Glassberg turns and is well under that one. Promising for Northwestern in the build-up. Doesn't come to much, and now here is Paul's son to take off Glassberg.
I'm just not sure why Colin McCamey doesn't go out wide here. Look at how much space Fritz Volmar has. Tyler Glassberg is asked to do so much with that ball. It's such a tough challenge when the ball's bouncing up on you like that.
Bounced around for Northwestern, couldn't create a good chance out of it. Powerful boot over the top from Goldson. Header battle won initially by Michigan. Now Volmar coming the other way. Sliding challenge. Middle of the field from Rogers. Light raindrops starting again as Gajadhar gets in there, but Blevins takes it away from him. Al-Hasnawi out to the near side. Working on Van Deventer, driving through the middle, meeting a bevy of Wildcats, and Gajadhar takes it away. Faggard has Weiss in the middle. Gives it to him. Justin Weiss driving in on the right side. Lost it. Van Deventer trying to hold on to it for Northwestern. Vasquez only gets it as far as OB. McCamey looking through. And nobody there but Matt Fisher. And now Michigan creating space. Not moving too quickly with it, though. Vasquez let things slow down in the middle of the field. It's a Michigan team that has not shown much of a sense of urgency in this first half, that's for sure. 6.5 minutes to play, and our opening 45. McCamey Too heavy on that touch. Loses it. Al-Hasnawi takes a second to check his leg out. Should be a Michigan throw, and it is.
Such a tough task to build against this Northwestern team. See how quick Colin McCamey and Jason Gajadhar are to step up into those center midfielders, but also to step up to those fullbacks. Whenever there's a player who's free, it's Jason Gajadhar or Colin McCamey who's taking it upon themselves to put the pressure.
Wagner uses his physicality, gets it through Gajadhar, earns possession for Michigan. Blevins down the line, offside. You can see it developing for Rogers, who has now gone down in a heap himself. Rogers was well off there. See that? It's hard not to be a bit cynical, as very little contact on Rogers as he went down on that one. You have received word the number 1 seed Indiana Hoosiers are up 2-0. Not a surprising result so far. If Indiana holds on, they would await the winner here in the semifinals. Volmar. And now OB. Wildcats trying to do a little bit more building before the half. Looks like one last sub getting ready to come to the table for the Wildcats. Each team has used 3 thus far. It's Joe Arena getting ready. Stayed in the midfield for the most part of the last quarter hour or so. Paul Sun dispossessed. Wagner is offside. I was about to say, I can't believe he stayed on, and he didn't stay on. And now Northwestern showing some perhaps slightly hypocritical displeasure as Wagner kicks it about 10 feet.
He's just a little bit frustrated that he didn't get that timing correct on the run, because it's a really good run coming across the backside of Reese Mayer. Something that we've seen him create a lot of chances from this season.
I was going to say, it's what Wagner excels at. His final third runs. Brings a lot of creativity when he enters for Michigan. Wyman waits for everybody to get up forward. Michigan playing as high a line as they dare here. And they were right to bet against Wyman's ability to get it over the top significantly. But the Northwestern will get a throw out of it. Do they send it to Reese Mayer? They will. And Joe Arena will come in now for Thacker. Arena, a veteran for this Northwestern team. Senior. Hasn't seen as much time this season as he has in some past years. And again, Mayer now ready for the long throw. And Simon Vasquez has been given a card here? Is that what I'm hearing? Vasquez has been given a yellow card. Not sure what for. Mayer towards the middle of the box. Headed away. Gajadhar tries to get in there, but it's Vasquez with the header out of danger for the time being. Mayer facing pressure. McCamey down the line. Colin McCamey on the ball, trying to create. Gets around one. McCamey well too far. It's run down by Van Deventer in the end. Ovid setting up with 2.5 minutes to play. Gajadhar out for Sun. Paul Sun with space. Closed on by Fisher. Sun against Fisher. Out to McCamey. Now Fisher closing on him. Gets the cross away. Taken down by Weiss. And his attempt off the head of Michigan defenders. Wagner trying to hold things up and does it well enough. Joined by Paulo Ramos. It's cleared back to Paulo Ramos. And McCamey heads it away. Michigan trying to get into one last attack here. They got time for a couple more, really. It's taken off the foot of Cassidy. Now Weiss to try to hold things up. Light jersey tug, nothing called. Weiss creating in the middle of the field. Doesn't have many options in front. From long range. Oh my! Arena on the follow-up. Oh my goodness. Justin Weiss was about 4 inches away from a master stroke in the Big Ten quarterfinal. The audacity to even think of it from Justin Weiss. And how close did he come? My goodness.
That is a bombastic swing of his foot from Justin Weiss. Gets his head up, knows Isaiah Goldson is off his line. He's only 6 feet tall. This ball clanks across the crossbar. But as you said, what a goal that would have been for Justin Weiss.
To be fair to Goldson, he's not much off his line. I mean, Weiss has found a lot of power in that foot there. There's not a lot of strikers who would be capable of testing a keeper from that range when they were... I mean, Goldson was barely out of his 6-yard box. He wasn't that far off. But my goodness, Justin Weiss almost really turned things here. 30 seconds now for Northwestern to try to create, and they will get another long throw opportunity with Reese Mayer if they hurry. Everybody getting in the box, besides Fritz Volmar. And, of course, Jackson Wyman. Although, hey, you never know. Meyer over the top. Past McCamey, and cleared away. That will do it for our first half here. An intriguing one to be sure. We had plenty of flow in the opening moments. We had chances for Northwestern at times. We had movement from Michigan at times. The score remains 0-0 at the break. Wildcats outshooting the Wolverines 8-1 before we even think about it. And it's Northwestern ready to get it underway in the second half. The Wildcats now going south to north. Remember, no notable wind here tonight, and we see a very intriguing change at the back for Northwestern, who comes out with a different group. It's Henri Richter into the lineup. So Reese Mayer played the first half. Maybe something bulky with that injury. It's Richter in the center for Northwestern defensively. Here come the Wolverines. They've got some additions as well. Now we laid it off there. Nicholas Cassidy, who finished the first half, is in the game to start the second, and he's on the ball to serve one in. Cassidy to the middle! And it takes a deflection on the way out. It will be Michigan's first corner in the 136 minutes that they have played against Northwestern this season.
And Fritz Volmar just gets dragged in a little bit, so Nicholas Cassidy has tons of space, tons of time to get his head up and send this ball in. It's dangerous for Northwestern, but they do a good job defensively to force the set piece.
Left-footed ball on the way from Bryce Blevins. And a back heel comes off Weiss's head, stays in as it's tracked down and cleared by Northwestern. That is Van Deventer, who also remains in for the start of the second half. So an interesting number of lineup changes for both of these teams. As staying on the field as well is Wagoner for the Wolverines, their main threat up top. One notable name that we were talking about in the break that we haven't seen yet for Michigan, and interested to see if that continues, is Leon. Michael Leon, the junior out of Ghana, has played in every game this season for the Wolverines. When we talked to Coach Daly this morning, without going into specifics, as Gajadhar deals with that cross, but is out for Michigan throw-in, he did say that some knocks had been picked up during training. He wouldn't go into specifics about what that was. And so maybe, I don't want to speculate, but there's a chance that that's played a factor in some of his substitution decisions so far today. To send in the throw, it will be Cassidy, again the sophomore. Headed up in the air and cleared initially by Volmar, pardon me. And now out for a goal kick.
And we're at the point of the season. Both of these teams have played 16 games in a little over 2 months. It takes a toll on your body when you're practicing 4 or 5 times a week as well. And Russell Payne also told us that his team isn't 100%.
Yeah, he said he's dealing with more injuries than they've dealt with in a while at this stage of the season.
Bryant Mayer has been out for the last 4 or 5 games. We didn't know that Reese Mayer would start until 5 minutes before kickoff.
And he's out right now, and I'm sure they'd rather have him in. And of course, you mentioned Achara has been limited. Weiss has, of course, been limited, although he's in again right now.
It's a matter of trying to get as much from your depth as possible. When you get into these games, when they start dragging into overtime.
Weiss to the middle, but Thagard wasn't there. It goes out for a corner anyways. I think Will Baker will want that clearance back. I don't think he realized he had as much space as he had. And now Weiss.
It's tough to see if that's frustration from Justin Weiss or a bit of a limp.
He's moving slowly. It certainly looks like at least a bit of a limp. It's McCamey going to be to send it in. Weiss, of course, going to stay in for now, the ultimate game. You'd have to drag him off the field. But it's McCamey. One of the primary targets in the middle is Richter. Center back hasn't seen a ton of time this year. Ball's towards Richter. He walls a player off, and he's whistled for the foul. Henri Richter, a little bit too aggressive with his shielding tactic there. Mentioned Richter, number 20, appearing in his 13th game this season. All off the bench. Mostly off the bench, I should say. Has made his starts.
Started a couple. Maryland played the full 90 when Reese Mayer went down with a little bit of a niggle. He's been solid. Coach Russell Payne has been very happy with his performance. I mean, he's calm on the ball, but he's also a physical presence back there. Complements Nigel Prince very well.
Gajadhar lays it off to McCamey, who plays it out wide for Glassberg. And now here comes Volmar, and it's tackled away. Lovely from Nolan Miller. The Wildcats stay on the ball. And will Richter try to send in a long throw here? We've only seen it from Mayer today. But yeah, it looks like the Wildcats are sending him into the box. I did not personally know that Henri Richter had this in his bag.
Brandon Claggett has one too, just not on the field.
We've seen Claggett this year. I haven't. But yeah, Richter, neither Claggett or Mayer on the field. So yeah, it's Richter. Not quite as on target, but McCamey flicks it on. Oh, how does that not go in for Northwestern? Back to the middle, tipped away and grabbed beautifully by Goldson. Initial mistake from Goldson, leaving space on the back post, and somehow the Wildcats have not managed to capitalize. Goldson does a great job of recovery. Let's take another look.
I mean, how in the world does this overhead touch get anywhere close to the net? Isaiah Goldson has to be on top of that. And for the Wildcats, any sort of touch turns that ball into the back of the net.
I think that first bounce, it actually hit on the goal line there, but was spinning away. It's lovely for McCamey to get that into an area where it was dangerous. Northwestern couldn't make it work. It was Goldson, and there was a Michigan defender on the back post who both failed to clear that ball. So a big mistake by the Wolverines, where the Wildcats cannot make them pay. Richter, you mentioned his physicality, presence on the back line. A lot of pushing and shoving down the line. Weiss giving as good as he gets, but it ran out. Fisher will throw. And Matthew Fisher, for a guy who does not outwardly look like he packs a ton of punch, has played a very physical game tonight. Thagard is spilled. The contact starting to come fast and furious now. Obed with the clearance there. And Thagard stayed down. Looked like he landed right on his tailbone. Never fun.
Needed, so now you have to look towards perhaps Paul Son, Javen Vandeventer getting in some minutes up top if Justin Weiss needs a bit of a break.
Gajadhar coming through, and it's played out for McCamey. Looking for Glassberg. It's a lovely ball, but it's run down. Wow, Matthew Fisher beat him to the ball, but Glassberg's back on it. Glassberg spinning, working on his fellow first year. Now McCamey giving all the space. Michigan giving him everything. And McCamey, not his best ball, stabs it over for Glassberg, who is not going to get there. Not the best moment for McCamey right there. Wishes he had that one back.
And Colin McCamey almost always gives a perfect delivery, but this one is just soft. He has the time to float this into the back post, but it's easily headed away by Will Baker.
You almost wonder if he had too much time. Overthought it potentially. Goldson now on the goal kick. 8 minutes into what has already been an eventful start to the second half. Nodded on. Here comes Cassidy with space. Cassidy into the area. Cassidy blocked off. Lovely job by Volmar in the end. Weiss not tall enough to reach that. So it comes for Miller. Rogers turning, looking. Little grab, let go, and Glassberg. Oh, a foul is given, I think, there. A little too much contact from Rogers, who doesn't like it. Big gesture from number 6. He's been at odds with our officiating for most of this evening.
And we're seeing a bit of a position, a formational change from Michigan.
Not much contact, to be fair, there from Rogers. Understandable. But yes, the formational change for Michigan.
They're just a little more willing to press now in a bit of a 4-1-4-1. You're seeing Wagner up top by himself, and Bryce Blevins has dropped into the middle to try and get on the ball a little bit more.
Yeah, we saw even what looked like a 5-back for most of the first half, and a really conservative 5-back at that, really a 5-4-1 more than anything else. Just that little shift, more of an attacking presence, a little bit more pressure on Northwestern. Michigan earns the throw here on the far side. Shtaba Al-Hasnawi mentioned he scored the second goal. Most experienced player on this Michigan team. Been here for 5 years. Spent almost all of them as a winger. Mentioned Matt has been on the right side a lot in his career, over on the left now. And Al-Hasnawi another throw. Battle in the midfield. Comes off the foot of McCamey last, and then headed on and headed back, and headed on and headed back, and over for a Michigan throw. So Northwestern being forced into the early substitution with Achara. You wonder, does Achara have the fitness right now to play all 38 minutes of the rest of this second half at full capacity? Because we've already talked about Weiss limping around a little bit. A lot's going to be asked of number 22 for Northwestern as that ball by Wagner cut off. And now for a Northwestern throw, eventually.
Well, Chris staggered walking around, just trying to get some feeling back in his legs. Looks like he's trying to get back into this match, which would be a great sign for Russell Payne and the rest of his coaching staff.
But then if you're Payne, you want to give Achara, I'm sure, more of a window to play, so maybe Thagard for the end of the half. McCamey on his best ball. Down the line, that's lovely. Even more lovely from Richter on the challenge. But we've seen some moments from Nicholas Cassidy down this near side early in this second half. We've already created the lone corner for Michigan. Matthew Fisher, who's been a bright spot for the Wolverines today. As we still have not seen Jason Buckner since he was taken off very quickly after his yellow card. Michigan with the extended switch of the field. Al-Hasnawi down the line. Nobody really there. Wyman hasn't been tested much. Go ahead, man.
No, we've seen that ball a couple of times for Michigan, trying to play over the top into their striker or their center forward, whether it's Wagner, Herrera. It doesn't really matter who the personnel is because the Wildcats are doing a good job of tracking it back and just letting it roll to Jackson Wyman.
It also has felt like the lines have not been on the same page for much of this evening. Another thing Shaka Daly talked about is his team wants to play between the lines. They want that synergy between the backs, the midfield, the forward. And they just haven't had it for much of this evening. Passes have been off kilter. Wyman over the top looking for Van Deventer. Oh, that's certainly going to be a foul. And I think, well, I'm not actually sure what Will Baker is saying. You're not allowed to jump on him. Even if they are short. Maybe that's what he's saying. He's saying he's short. I should be allowed to jump on him. Van Deventer got the worst of it, but earned the foul. Obi. And now for Gajadhar. Wildcats were trying to work a triangle. Didn't really go the way they had hoped. They switch it. Seen a Northwestern team in this second half early going. It was a little bit more patient. Really sticking in that three at the back look for long stretches. We have gone final in Bloomington. Indiana will host the semis. They have won as Achara looking for a corner. It's out, and it's a goal kick. But it will be the Wildcats or Wolverines traveling to Bloomington for the semifinals. When Michigan played in Bloomington earlier this year, they scored this draw, as we mentioned, in the first half. And for Northwestern, that game here at Martin Stadium resulted in the Wildcats' lone win in the last four. We already mentioned the Nigel Prince goal. That was the only score in that one. So both these teams potentially licking their chops for a chance at the Hoosiers. Fisher. Volmar back into that left back spot. Walls off. Cassidy. Wildcats resetting again. There was just a sense of urgency from Northwestern in the first half that it feels like has gone away as Michigan started to press them a bit more in this second half. Wolverines slowly starting to take over this game.
Yeah, I think it's less to do with Northwestern sitting back and more to do with Michigan just wanting to step up to put Northwestern on the back foot. And Northwestern have just seen a few passes go astray, haven't been able to connect between the lines as much as they did in those first 45.
Got to credit Shaka Daly and his staff. The veteran lead assistant, Joyano Bondo, who's been with Daly for 10 years in this program. Those two have seen their fair share of ups and downs in their time in Ann Arbor. We know this Michigan team is capable of making the run they need to make in this Big Ten tournament. Wolverines are really starting to show signs of it on the field right now. Fisher, hoping to keep the field tilted. Wagner has put in work. Earned those black gloves. Richter with the initial header away. Vasquez keeps it in. And then, not sure what Cassidy was trying to do exactly, but it didn't work. Hearing directions called out by Nolan Miller in the back line. Sophomore has taken on such a leadership role, the Michigan native. It's often tough for a team with two young center backs, but Miller really brings that leadership, and of course, Will Baker very capable of it as well. Here come the Wolverines again. It's Al Hasnawi. Dangerous man down the left side. Into the middle it comes, and stabbed away by McCamey in the end. Wildcats do enough, but it was an opportunity for Michigan. Once again, coming through the middle. That time it was Joao Paulo Ramos, who we haven't seen much of in this early second half.
And there were a handful of half-hearted appeals from the Michigan bench for a penalty here, but I think Colin McKemmy does really well to come back to drop in and give some cover to Nigel Prince.
Paulo Ramos was already beginning to lose it, to be fair. Baker heads away. Overzealous from Rogers. Overzealous from Rogers part 2, and the Wildcats continue forward. Volmar down the line. Overlapping Glassberg, and it's a poor ball from Fritz Volmar. Not on the same page. The two first years. Michigan earns the goal kick. Wildcats trying to get back in that attacking state of mind. Nearly 17 minutes gone in this second half. Prospect of overtime continues to loom, although we're a ways away from that, of course. Both these coaches have been frank with their teams about that possibility heading into this week. Coach Payne in particular talked about, when you get to the postseason, it's really a battle of depth. And we have seen the Michigan depth help turn this game around. Wagner, Cassidy in particular. Paulo Ramos has made a couple of runs. All three subs, all three have made a significant impact in this one. The Northwestern bench has not done quite as much. Although, to be fair, Justin Weiss came about 4 inches away from giving his team the lead. Other than that, though. Here it comes from Fisher over the top for Wagner, who is offsides for the third time.
It's really close from Alex Wagner. He's not 5 feet offside. It's more like a foot, a couple inches, 2 feet. give or take. It's good runs. The idea is there. And Northwestern is having a little bit of trouble, more so when the ball is super high like that. Nigel Prince might have lost it a little bit and just ended up fortunate that Wagner didn't keep himself on side.
Mentioned the young back line for Michigan. They've got the two center backs, of course, that are young, and of course Matthew Fisher, a freshman as well, though he's on the all-freshman team. For Northwestern now, they've gotten to a younger back line because of this situation. With both Prince and Richter as sophomores, and then Volmar defensively a first year. So we see a substitution, one that we thought we would see at some point soon. It's Buckner re-entering for Cassidy, going to continue the work that he was doing. And I was going to mention Ibrahim Obi, the lone upperclassman on this back line right now, and he's a junior with not the most experience. I mean, he certainly has less experience than Prince. So even Northwestern's back line potentially suffering from some of that youth.
And Nigel Prince may be a sophomore, but just the way he carries himself, the way he plays, and then obviously the minutes he's accrued this season.
Him and Miller are really two sides of a very similar coin. They play very differently, of course. But the way that they backstop their respective defenses is very similar. Both have played that heavy minutes load. Fisher, another throw. Oh, and he can't control it on the back pass, on the return pass, I should say, from Rogers. Both teams as subs trying to stay warm. Will it be a substitute that makes the difference here tonight? Possibility. Most of the players we've seen moments from today are on the field. Richter over the top, only as far as Buckner. Snapped away by Gajadhar. And now some space for a dangerous man in Al-Hasnawi out to the left side. The goal scorer on Sunday, Al-Hasnawi, cut off by Van Deventer, but it will be a second corner for Michigan.
But that's how you have to attack this Northwestern team. Draw them in, let them feel comfortable in that three back, and then attack them out wide, whether it's Fritz Volmar's side or when Ibrahim Obi tucks in closer to Nigel Prince, then you expose them with Mushtaba Al-Hasnawi joining in.
But Russell Payne has to be pleased. No successful crosses still, even with Michigan starting to get more traction down the line. Oh, it's loose in front! A near disaster from Prince and Wyman in the middle, but no Michigan player around to clean it up. Worked in by Blevins. Displeasure from the Michigan bench, and Northwestern comes away. Achara on the run. Weiss a little bit wide for him, but Achara will collect. Weiss wants it back in the middle of the field, but he's surrounded by Mays jerseys. Looking to the middle anyway, and it's blocked up in the air. Glassberg heads it to nowhere. Richter trying to stop up a potential break. Takes it away from Wagner. Appeals from the Michigan side of things. Wagner had it taken off his foot. Richter over the top for Weiss. Fisher has handled that kind of pressure all day. Weiss nearly got around, and it's going to turn into a corner. A rare mistake from Nolan Miller. He was too casual with that ball, it seemed, and Weiss put enough pressure on to turn it into a set-piece opportunity.
And I think there's just a lot of miscommunication that goes on in that play. Matt Fisher tries to head this ball back to Isaiah Goldson, but then Nolan Miller sees Justin Weiss breathing down his neck and is just forced to play it out for a corner.
Yeah, as you alluded to there, it did seem to more be on Miller. I mean, pardon me, more on Fisher than Miller, the situation there. It's going to be McCamby, of course, on the corner. And Michigan preparing a sub at the same time. With plenty of pushing and shoving in the 6-yard box. A talking to, again, our official. Michigan readying their second sub of the second half. But it's the Wildcats who will play in the corner first. Prince always a target in these situations. It's over the top towards Weiss, headed away. Rising is Baker, the tall center back. An easy clearance header from him. Now Wyman's going to see some pressure from Paulo Ramos. handles it. Vandeventer skying for Chara, who can't take it down. Enough done by El Hasnawi to shield him off. And a misplay from Obeid. Down the line it goes for Wagoner. Michigan throw. And the Wolverines now with 2 subs ready. And they'll bring him in.
And I'm not sure whether it's the rain or tired legs, but we've just seen a few passes that aren't finding feet, players slipping, and some defensive mishaps. Both of these front lines have to be licking their chops at a potential misstep from someone like Nolan Miller, Will Baker, Nigel Prince. As uncommon as they are, if they happen, you have to capitalize.
Both teams see their number 13s come in. It's Julio Herrera back to the lineup for Michigan, and Ron Brown, capable goal scorer, entering for the first time in the midfield for Northwestern. Meanwhile, for the Wolverines, they also are going to bring on Zach Martins for the first time. Sophomore midfielder out of Gainesville, Florida. Martins has not seen a lot of time this year, only the 5th game he's appeared in. Daly getting deep in that bench. That looked like a potential handball for Prince. And it's brought, a yellow for dissent on Wagoner. As we're aware, that's the 2nd yellow for dissent that's been awarded to Michigan. First Vasquez, now Wagoner, and Wagoner cannot believe it. 3 yellow cards now on Michigan. All 3 players on a yellow on the field right now. And the Wolverines are starting to get displeased with some of the officiating we've seen today. Take another look there.
And the argument from Wagner is that as Nigel Prince is coming off of his line, ball just comes up into his left hand.
And it looked like it did. And now there's going to be a conversation with Shaka Daly. It's hard to blame Wagoner for any dissent. I mean, you can see it on the replay. We thought we saw it live. It should have been a handball, and it should have been a very dangerous opportunity for Michigan. Free kick that would have come from right about, 20, 25 yards out? Instead, a conversation on the sidelines. Wolverines cannot be pleased.
Well, and we've seen Michigan score from that distance. That player, not on the field, though, in Riley Furch, still warming up a bit, but he managed to put one in from similar range, a little bit farther towards the corner.
I think they'd be happy to have Blevins or Wagoner have a go from there. Volmar loses it. Is the call. Up here, it didn't look like that ball had all the way gone over the line, but the AR has a much better view than we do. And a much better view than the fans do. And now a conversation with Nigel Prince and our assistant official on this side.
I mean, Nigel Prince may not wear that captain's armband, but he just exudes leadership. Someone that you have to imagine will be one of those players that this Northwestern program relies on for the next couple of years.
Weiss, the one who does wear the captain's armband, cannot find Chara. And I do think that starting this game, as far as I'm aware, when Weiss is out, I think it is Prince who assumes captain's responsibilities, although it may be Chara.
It's interesting because Ron Brown and Justin Weiss both wear the captain's armband.
Right, and neither was on the field for the first 25 minutes. But both are, of course, leaders, no matter where they are on the field, on the bench, regardless. Brown takes an elbow to the back. And Wagoner has got to start being careful now. And if you're Coach Daly, you might have to watch number 7 over there. Wildcats readying another sub. Looks like Joe Arena's getting ready on the sideline again. We thought the Wildcats might have to go deeper in their forward rotation. Number 18 would be it in that regard. Vandeventer working with Obeid. That taped up right hand, Ibrahim Obeid. Now all the way across to Richter and Michigan, putting on the pressure. Putting 2 up top to get on Wyman. Plays it ahead towards Chara. Oh, an excellent defensive header. And now Michigan coming forward. It's Duilio Herrera. Cut off. Back on the ball. Herrera works in the left-footed cross. Headed away by Richter. Vasquez late arriving. Comes Fisher, deflected in front, loose, Wagner! No flag, a goal for Michigan! The leader has done it! Alex Wagner, his 6th goal on a deflected ball. Northwestern can't believe it. The Wolverines are 18 and a half minutes from a trip to Bloomington and the Big Ten semifinals.
And this is all about putting yourself in the correct position to get on top of any deflections. Alex Wagner is someone who scored 73 goals as a junior in high school. You see Matt Fisher lines up, it takes a good, healthy deflection off Henri Richter, but credit to Alex Wagner for being where he needed to be and then putting that ball past Jackson Wyman.
And now Northwestern left to search for an answer. Alex Wagner started the second half and played all these minutes and played through the yellow to be in position for exactly what he just did. And number 7 has delivered again for Michigan when they needed it. 6th goal of the year to lead the team. They gave Matthew Fisher an assist on his deflected shot. And the Wolverines, with a really impressive second half output, have found the goal to bolster them.
Yeah, I think Michigan has been the better team coming out of halftime. Their press has been more intense. Northwestern hasn't found the same rhythm. Now Russell Payne's men have to go forward. They have to start putting as many players into the box as possible.
Here comes Volmar. Paul Sun and Joseph Arena have come in officially for Northwestern. For Michigan, Furch back. Van Deventer for Sun. Deflected on for Weiss. Weiss to the left. Deflected, loose, Arena off the post. Oh my, Arena had an opportunity fresh off the bench. Sun, still on the ball. Looking for space, out for Van Deventer. The cross handled, up in the air though, Arena, and finally cleared by Buckner. What an opportunity for Arena fresh off the bench.
It's tough to see from up here. I'm not sure if that ball hits the post or if Isaiah Goldson gets a hand to it.
He might have gotten a hand.
But regardless, it's a good response from Northwestern to get the ball immediately into the final third in a really dangerous position for Isaiah Goldson.
Well, the Wildcats have wasted no time in going on the attack, and they wasted no time in bringing on the subs. Out comes Ron Brown just minutes after he came in, and it's Gajadhar right back on the field. Northwestern knows they are up against it now in a game they absolutely must win. Another Wildcat throw. They're going to try to work the long throw. Well, Obi doesn't seem to have the memo. Now he gives it up.
And I just wonder whether Shaka Daly, seeing how his team had to absorb so much in that first half, if he'll maybe switch to 5 at the back and bring on an extra defender, sacrifice something going forward.
Well, he brought off Wagner immediately after he scored for Furch. So I think that at least that piece of it, although Furch is capable going forward, he's a little bit more defensive-minded than Wagner at least. That piece of it has been at least a little bit answered. Richter up high. Prince tried to get to it. And Buckner got the first touch. Sun on his left foot, blocked off nicely. Play made by Martins. Now Martin's back on it from Furch. Through the legs of Volmar, but only as far as Gajadhar. Another sub coming for Michigan. What more tricks do these two coaches have up their sleeves in the waning moments? Michigan has found themselves with the lead off the 72nd minute goal by Alex Wagner, his 6th of the year, and 2nd in 2 games against Northwestern. Volmar loses it. He's ruining that one. Michigan will bring... Nope, they will not bring the sub on yet. Nope, yes they will. They bring off their captain, Bryce Blevins. Here's a really intriguing move. And it's Cassidy on the left side now for Blevins.
And it's not time just yet for Northwestern to hit the panic button. They have 15 minutes, still have a 6th of the game to try and get something out of it. But you have to keep your shape. You have to be patient. Let the opportunities come to you.
Gajadhar has been nicked and fouled. Prince out wide for OB. Serena and Weiss up top for Northwestern as they try to create here. I wonder if we've seen the last of Achara for this regulation period. McCamey drops back to collect and looks over the top for Volmar. Curling inside, Volmar cut off by Fisher. What a defensive play by number 3. But Gajadhar has some space and time. McCamey at that 35-yard lacrosse line. Son. Volmar against Buckner. McCamey against Herrera. Working to the middle. McCamey lays it off for Gajadhar. Son. Nope, that's Obeid. Out wide for Van Deventer. Obeid with an overlapping run. Arena was not offsides. Deflected ball in. Bouncing and out for a corner. And a potential mistake there. Expected to see Goldson maybe come off this line, but didn't want to risk it. And winds up in a Wildcat corner.
Took a weird bounce. I think it's smart from Isaiah Goldson to protect your lead. You don't want to take any chances. Paul Sun was on that back post. Scoop up any of the trash.
Yeah, with some weird spin on it. Didn't want to fumble. McCamey on the corner. Into the middle. Nothing there. Michigan has defended Wildcat corner after Wildcat corner this week. Herrera trying to make a run. Cut off. Volmar. Looked like he was maybe thinking of a shot. Weiss to the middle. Oh, and it's a great defensive move from Nolan Miller to cut off any potential outlet for Nigel Prince. And down behind the play here, which nobody seems to have noticed yet, is Herrera. Another look at that. Miller just did a phenomenal job of walling him off.
So much credit has to be given to Fritz Volmar. He's limping a little bit as well. He went in really tough to that challenge. But he wins the ball back and then immediately plays a through ball, breaks 2 lines with that pass.
2 Michigan substitutes ready. One almost certainly to provide for Herrera. Again, that was a physical collision between those 2. Mostly ball, but even when it's mostly ball, as you know well, Matt, injuries can happen. Weiss with space. It's blocked off in front. Nifty little play that Northwestern ran there, but Michigan's break might be on. Claggett is too quick to allow it. Cutting off his fellow number 2 in Buckner, and now a Michigan sub. It's Bryce Blevins right back in. No surprise. No, it's not Bryce Blevins. That's actually Quinn Rogers, who had also just recently come off for the first time. And Simon Vasquez, who's on a yellow, does head to the sideline. I don't think we've seen Vasquez take a rest today in the midfield. Header goes over everybody. Arena plays soccer for a reason. He's not very good at passing it with his hands. Michigan goes for another throw in. Drying off that ball as much as possible. The rain has continued to fall at a steady, if slow pace in this second half. All Sun hopping through. Wildcats with 4 players who have played the forward position this year in the game. Two of them are not playing forward right now, obviously. Shape has remained the same for Northwestern. Time starting to dwindle a bit for the Wildcats. Still plenty of opportunity to be had. Michigan, as you mentioned, Matthew, has not gone into the bunker. Still trying to push and creates. Push in the back from Nigel Prince. Creates a free kick for Riley Furch and company. And the clock will stop as Furch is loading it up.
And the opportunities are there for Michigan. I mean, Fritz Volmar is defending that touch from Nigel Prince. A bit heavy in the back on Riley Furch, but just taking his time. He was trying to eat away the clock, but our official conscious of that gamesmanship. But Fritz Volmar is really pushing up.
Furch is going to go to the sideline here. Trying to figure out who they subbed in for. Is that her? No, it's not. Now Blevins comes back in. So Michigan is moving players all over the place. And this is an example of that Blevins versatility we talked about. Like in the middle of the park now, and now everything will go back to the start. Great job hauling in the deep pass by Nicholas Cassidy, though. Looked like he was a receiver out there. Oh, and another sub is going to come off.
And the Wildcats are going to make those offensive changes.
They had Van Deventer off very briefly. Weiss is coming off. No, it's not. That's Arena. Thanks, fans. Help me out. 10 and 18 can look very similar. They're also both, not exactly gifted in the height department. Neither are we. Weiss will stay on. That would have been really surprising. Now the ball goes all the way out for a Wildcat throw.
Northwestern's going to bring on Tyler Glassberg as well.
And Paul Sun will come on. So Van Deventer off briefly, now back in mid-forward position. They've got Claggett on the field. Claggett's going to go up to forward now. Van Deventer staying in the attacking midfield. Glassberg here on the near side. Claggett goes down, no whistle. Michigan continues the other way. Richter, this hit. McCamey on the end of it. McCamey for Van Deventer trying to create with Claggett out wide. Weiss and Glassberg arriving. Cross is headed away easily. McCamey gets to it first. Head of Blevins. Colin McCamey. Throw in for Northwestern. Will they bring out the long throw? Looks like no. Claggett is in now. He can do the long throw. They don't have to use Richter anymore. Richter will head into the area, into the middle of the field. He's a better target for these long throws than Claggett. It's off a Michigan head, and they clear it away. Gajadhar for Richter. Gets the header to it. Back to the middle. It's batted around in front. Gajadhar. Oh, what a save! You gotta be kidding me. Isaiah Goldson tracks it down. Gajadhar looked like that was ticketed for the left corner of the nets.
How about a bit of skill from your goalkeeper? The extension. Able to bring it down, not even punch it away, but to bring it down with two hands. That takes so much talent. Jason Gajadhar gets a great connection on this ball. I mean, he's 25 yards out, and Isaiah Goldson,
oh my. Goldson,
unbelievable save from the freshman.
He'll be putting that on his highlight reels for years to come. And Goldson has kept his team ahead. Gajadhar looked like he had the moment of brilliance. We thought Weiss might have had it in the first half, but it remains 1-0 Michigan. Clearance from Will Baker. Pressure by Wagner and Richter. Nervy moments, and he's fouled. And now Blevins is down behind the ball. Northwestern with 8 minutes and ticking to play what could be the end of their season. Obeid trying to make a run through the middle. Ibrahim Obeid sit out for Claggett. Claggett working. Excellent defending by Al-Hasnawi. Wagner tried to wall off Prince. Couldn't do it. Nigel Prince with a nifty move. And now McCamey back to the middle of the field with space and time. Cats not rushing. There's a sense of urgency now. Michigan with 2 more subs. Waiting. Richter looking over the top for Volmar. Trying to run it down. Coming out is Goldson.
The Wildcats know what it takes to find a late winner. They've had 2 goals that have decided games.
And now Goldson has gone down. And I think this is actually a silly move from Goldson. There was just one other sub, it looks like. Blevins is back off the field, and Martins is back on. Furch, who was briefly off, comes on as well. And Achara on for Northwestern, who is sending all of their offensive firepower forward for these last 6+ minutes. Coming onto the wall is Buckner. Took it off the face, stayed on it, and he'll take it to the corner. Buckner buying time, by the flag, working, looking for a corner, no dice. And now Gajadhar and Buckner both slow to ready themselves after that little collision. Players dropping like flies right now. Gajadhar trying to walk it off. Buckner is clearly taking some contact to the face here. We'll see this. Gajadhar comes over. Got Buckner in the face and then comes up limping a little bit.
It's smart from Buckner. Jason Gajadhar he's trying to explain his case that Buckner might have stomped on him. Not sure it's the motion that he made.
It didn't look like it on that replay. At least certainly nothing with any intent. Now throwing back to the middle, dangerous for Wyman, but he clears it out. Wildcats start forward. Van Deventer with 3 defenders around him. Van Deventer finds space for McCamey. Volmar going to try to come forward now. The clock ticking past 84 minutes at Martin Stadium. Glassberg didn't get what he wanted there. Physicality from Nabaka. McCamey now. Over the top for Weiss. And he certainly is fouled. Fisher there. And Weiss displeased, but it looks like an easy call from here. Fisher is taking some contact. Weiss just so willing to do whatever it takes to try for a win. But we've seen Fisher with some excellent defending all night.
Justin Weiss just comes over the top of Fisher, gets called for the foul. Just trying to do everything he can to win that ball.
If he doesn't extend that arm, he might not get called there. 5.5 minutes to go.
And I have to give credit to Soren Stoika, because every single time there's been any attempts from Michigan at just trying to run some time off the board, he stopped the clock. He's trying to give Northwestern as many chances, but more importantly, just trying to let the game run its course.
Certainly looked like a handball from Buckner. It was almost like he was bringing it in like a receiver. Goes for Northwestern throw the other way. We've seen a couple of pretty blatant handballs uncalled both ways. Not sure who Richter played that to, but OB comes and collects anyways. Looks like both teams are finished with their changes, at least for the time being. McCamey with opportunity, leaves it for OB. Gajadhar, who nearly leveled this game a couple minutes ago. Volmar for Richter. Wildcats searching for that last gasp equalizer. Sending everybody forward, trying to find space in what has now fully become a deep, deep Michigan shell. They're playing a pretty high line still. Van Deventer for Glassberg. Now Richter trying to find a way through. Volmar onto his left foot, cut off for McCamey, who has it right into the midst of Goldson. With what Goldson showed on that save on Gajadhar, I'm not sure if I was the Wildcats, I'd want to test him from deep right now. 3 minutes, 50 seconds. Come all the way back to Wyman. Throws it out quickly for OB. Weiss brings it down for Achara. Hugo Achara. Volmar. Glassberg working against the recently entered Nabaka. Glassberg around to his left, and Nabaka cuts off the ankle. Long throw potential. Richter wants it. He's going to get it. Baguette has come out. So Richter the only option left here in this situation. Doesn't get all of it. But it comes out for Gajadhar again! Deflected and steal save, looking for a handball, and it's a penalty! A penalty awarded to Northwestern. It looked like, oh no, now they're saying the other way. It looked like the initial point was to the spot. Northwestern can't believe it. The appeals for a handball continue. And the clock has been stopped here. Northwestern, I think, looking for a review. They want to see it. The handball was called against Northwestern. The Wildcats can't believe it. Weiss is losing his mind. Let's take a look. Gajadhar's shot. It's a Michigan handball. It just is. It just is.
I mean, Russell Payne started making the sign for VAR as soon as that ball came off the hand. I believe it's Quinn Rogers.
It is Quinn Rogers, yeah. I mean, the real problem that they have is he called the handball, and there's nobody else in the area but Rogers. And it's a real problem that they have. I don't understand what the referee thinks he's seen there. I mean, the ball's in the middle of the box. It can't be anything but a handball, and the only guy there was Rogers.
And I'm just confused.
It's really confusing.
Why we're not at least why the referee?
I'm not sure it's reviewable.
That's what I'm thinking. I don't know if it's possible.
As far as I'm aware, the only things that are reviewable are upgrades on cards, are goal, no goal. That's what I'm aware of. You can review mistaken identity on a card, but not on a run of the mill handball, in my opinion. Oh, Payne is really not happy. And he's been shown a yellow. It's hard to say he shouldn't be. Coach Payne has seen what should have been a penalty kick taken away. And Michigan is now just 2 minutes and 47 seconds away from a semifinal berth. So again, as far as we're aware, that's not something that's reviewable by VAR at the college ranks. In an offside position there was Furch, but he took it off in contact from a Northwestern player. But now, offsides is Nicholas Cassidy. Northwestern going to try to send everybody forward. 2 shots from outside the box from Gajadhar. 1 miraculously saved by Isaiah Goldson. 1 deflecting off the arm of Quinn Rogers, called for a Northwestern handball. And instead, it's Michigan on the 72nd minute goal from Alex Wagoner that has the 1-0 lead. Loose in front, Van Deventer can't get there. Northwestern seeing their season slipping away with Richter on the ball. And it's an excellent sliding challenge and a throw in for Furch and Michigan. Clock's going to be stopped briefly again here.
The Wildcats have had their chances. Justin Weiss
Certainly
smacked the crossbar in the first half. As you said, Gajadhar's had some good shots. Just haven't been able to be clinical against this Wolverines team. They couldn't do it on Sunday. Haven't been able to do it today, and they're running out of time. Just over a minute left to go.
Offsides is the call, it looks like, before any potential handball on Michigan. And so now the Wolverines can feel it. 50 seconds to play. And you can bet that Isaiah Goldson will take his time on this one and send it about as deep as he can. It's been a great game for Goldson. But it's not a very good ball. Van Deventer Weiss, it's through for Volmar. Fritz Volmar with an opportunity and cut off. An excellent challenge potentially from Nabaka. Wildcat faithful pleading for a whistle. Volmar pleading for a whistle. No help given from the center official. Matt, what'd you see?
I saw a handball, and I think Russell Payne saw a handball as well. I mean, Northwestern, yes, they haven't been clinical, but they will be absolutely furious with the way this game has played out. Nigel Prince and Isaiah Goldson having some words.
This is over. Michigan advances to the semifinals. Northwestern missed their opportunities. Alex Wagner did not miss his opportunity. Dialogue continues here as Michigan and Northwestern players look to separate Prince and Goldson, but it's over. Michigan has won and continued their season 1-0. Russell Payne is extremely displeased. None of it matters. This one is over. It's Michigan headed to Bloomington to face Indiana in the semifinals. Wolverines outshot 17-6. They were outcornered 6-2. It didn't matter. The Wolverines found the chance they needed. The Wildcats had their opportunities all day long. They dominated the first half, but Michigan took control early in the second half, eventually led in the 72nd minute goal. Northwestern had a variety of chances down the stretch, including some potential missed calls. Russell Payne and Shaka Daly continuing to have a dialogue with our officials. But in the end, it's the Alex Wagner goal off the deflection, his 6th of the season, that seals the trip for Michigan into the Big Ten semifinals. Thank you.